So far we have talked about how to start a company, but sometimes the real challenge is knowing when and how to close it properly. In this guide we will cover why founders shut down their Hong Kong companies, the 4 main exit options, when to use each one, what happens if you ignore the rules, and how to go through the process step by step without fines and legal risks. When does it make sense to close a Hong Kong company? Founders usually open companies with ambition and purpose, but the reasons they're shutting them down is often less exciting. In the best case scenario, it is planned. You open the company for a specific project, contract, or market, and now it's complete. You don't plan to use the structure again, and you are ready to wrap it up. Or maybe you shifted to a better opportunity elsewhere. You moved to new jurisdiction or business model, and Hong Kong no longer fits. More often though, the reason is simple. The business didn't work. There is no revenue, no clients, or worse, there are debts or legal issues. Sometimes macro conditions change. Sanctions, trade restrictions, or tighter regulations make your market unviable. Or maybe your passports or business model becomes too high risk and you can't operate as before. Other times, it is a setup mistake. The company was created too quickly based on hype or bad advice. So, no bank accounts, no clients, no real use. And in rare but real cases, the founder passes away and the family has no intention to continue the business. And this needs to be dealt with too. What are your options to close a Hong Kong company? There are 4 main ways. Option 1, deregistration, also called strike-off. This is the easiest and the cheapest method, but only if your company is clean and inactive. That means no business in the last 3 months, no debts, no bank accounts, and no legal trouble. If that's your case, here is what you do. First, apply the tax office to get a certificate saying that you have no pending taxes. This is called a notice of no objection. You file for NDR1 with the Companies Registry. You wait for the government to publish notices in the Gazette, and if no objections, the company is deregistered in about 5 to 6 months. It is straightforward, low cost, and it is final. But it only works for the companies that are already inactive. Option 2, voluntary liquidation, winding up. This is for real companies with assets, debts, staff, or clients. In short, when you can't use the registration. There are 2 types. If your company is solvent, it is called members voluntarily winding up. If it is insolvent, then creditors push for liquidation. It is called compulsory winding up. Let's look at the first one, the clean, controlled exit. Directors first declare that the company can pay all debts, then shareholders vote to close the company, then a licensed liquidator takes over. The liquidator handles all assets, pays off debts, and returns what's left to shareholders. And once everything is settled, the company is closed officially. It is a longer and more expensive process, but it gives you legal protection and clean finish. As for compulsory winding up, we won't go into detail here. It's not a choice but a consequence, triggered by unpaid debts or lawsuits. It involves courts and creditors' action and requires legal advice beyond the scope of this guide. Option 3, dormant company. If you are not ready to shut the company down but don't want to pay money keeping it active, then you make it dormant. To do this, you stop all your business activity, you file a board resolution that you are going dormant, and you inform the company's registry. Once dormant, you don't need to file audited accounts. You still need to file annual return, NAR1, but that's it. Later, you can restart at any time. It is a good option if you want to preserve the structure for the future, but reduce ongoing costs right now. Option 4, compulsory strike off. This is what happens if you do nothing. If you stop filing annual documents, ignore taxes, and just abandon the company, the government may forcibly strike it off due to non-compliance. Sounds convenient? It's not. There is a danger in this option. You still owe debts, fines, and taxes, and they may be turned into personal liability. Directors may be personally liable. Then your name, shareholder's name, will be flagged in banking and compliance systems. and your company assets go to Hong Kong government as bona vacante. The only rare exceptions where this might happen naturally is when the company wasn't active and the sole shareholder passes away. We had such a case. We received a notice from a partner of our client that our client died. It turned out that the family of the client didn't want to continue the business, so the company will eventually be strike off. But outside of such edge cases, abandoning a company is a bad idea. It causes more problems than it solves. Final thoughts. So, what's the best option? If your company is clean and inactive, then deregistration is your path. If you're unsure about the future, then dormant status gives you flexibility and cuts costs. If there are still operations, debts or assets, then voluntary liquidation is the compliant exit. And if you are tempted to just leave the company behind, don't. You're opening the door to legal and financial trouble. If you're not sure which path to choose, get advice before making a move. It is easier to shut down properly than to fix things after they go wrong. In the final episode of our Hong Kong series, we will compare company setups in Hong Kong and mainland China and explain when to choose each. Subscribe to stay updated, and let's keep going.